The Washington Commanders and the Green Bay Packers just finished up on Thursday Night Football, and the home team, the Green Bay Packers, they were in control of this game from pretty much the jump. And I think a big reason for it is the Green Bay defense looks like it might be one of the best in the NFL this year. While they did add Micah Parsons before the season started, and that helps their pass rush, it's also the fact that in this game, Jaden Daniels had almost zero effect on the ground, 7 carries for 17 yards. I think the biggest thing in general is that Washington did little to nothing on the ground and with their running backs in general tonight. Both Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and Austin Eckler combined for 34 yards on 12 carries, and Eckler had 2 more catches for 7 yards in tonight's game. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at that. Again, you can just say that Green Bay's defense, they were incredible tonight. And they really showed that with Micah Parsons, with Lucas Van Ness, who had a great game defending the run, with Rashawn Gary, with the secondary that they have, the linebackers, like through and through, this defense is constructed very well. They have playmakers, they have guys at every level. I think a bigger thing that I'm going to take away from this game is that Washington, for whatever reason, didn't want to run the ball. They had only 12 carries between their 2 running backs. And while, yes, I said that those 2 guys combined for 34 yards on their 12 carries combined, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, in the very little chances that he got, actually made pretty good gains on each of his rushing attempts. I understand that 4 carries for 17 yards, you're not going to look at it and be like, yeah, he had a good game. But in the scope of what this offense did as a whole, easily the guy who made the most ground through the running game was Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. And he got 0 play even when Austin Eckler went down with an injury. It was Jeremy McNichols who came in. And honestly, it just felt like from the beginning of this game, Cliff Kingsbury and the rest of this offensive staff, they abandoned the run very early. They had no faith in their offensive line. They had no faith at getting anything going on the ground. And it wasn't like it was because they were doing something great through the passing game. I mean, Jaden Daniels, 24 completions on 42 attempts for 200 yards. It's not a good game at all. Even with 2 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, those touchdowns came in garbage time. Green Bay, when they needed to, they shut down the passing attack of Washington. Terry McLaurin still has not gotten off to a great start. Deebo Samuel has not done great. I think the guy that you point to and say has had a good start to the season is Zach Ertz. But outside of that, I just don't see much positive for Jaden Daniels through the air and for Washington on the ground, especially because last week against the New York Giants, while yes, the Giants have a good defense, they didn't have an opponent to really worry about on the offensive side of the ball, except for Malik Neighbors last week. Now that this week Green Bay had all of their options through the air and on the ground, it was like they felt like they needed to chuck the ball to all of their own playmakers in McLaurin and Samuel. And while that's a great idea, it just doesn't seem to me like having Jaden Daniels throw the ball 40 plus times, and between being sacked or plays where he ends up running, having him drop back almost 50 plus times a game, it obviously is not the best way for Washington to win games going forward. Now, Green Bay deserves more credit than I think Washington deserves discredit, because Jordan Love tonight, again, was not as accurate, but almost even more efficient than he was last week. 300 yards through the air and 2 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, almost 10 yards per attempt He was sacked a couple of times, but I think you also look at the first down he picked up on the ground, a 14-yard run, and he got everyone involved, just like he has going back to last year. I mean, Tucker Kraft obviously led the way, his 6 catches for 124 yards, and that touchdown on the corner route on play action. But Dontavian Wicks had 4 receptions, Luke Musgrave had a couple, Romeo Dobbs had a few, Chris Brooks had a few out of the backfield. Matthew Golden, 0 catches on 2 targets. But again, this offense, they blocked well. They were able to open up holes in the running game for Josh Jacobs, 23 carries for 84 yards. This team looked like they had more of an effort to establish the running game, and that's kind of tough to say, especially too because Green Bay was down Aaron Banks, their guard that they signed in free agency this year to a big contract. They were also down Zach Tom, their own homegrown talent at right tackle, that they signed to a big contract extension as well. And so this was just a bad game all around for Washington, all things considered. But this was also a really good game from Green Bay, all things considered, all around. And I just think with how Green Bay has started this year, last week they kind of dismantled Detroit. And this week they almost did the exact same thing. It's a 9-point win, but throughout this entire game, they were up double digits. And going forward, Green Bay, to me, like I kind of said they were after the Micah Parsons trade, they are pushing to be the team considered alongside Philly, if not better than Philly, as the team to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl this year. Green Bay goes to Cleveland next week, and this could be a game next week where we see the defense absolutely take off. Micah Parsons has had a sack and a half through these first 2 games, but I think in Cleveland next week, there's a chance against a definitely less mobile quarterback than he's seen the last couple of weeks, probably against a much worse offensive line. It was kind of highlighted in tonight's game on Thursday Night Football. The first 2 weeks he's gone against Penei Sewell and against Laramie Tunsil, 2 of the better left tackles or tackles in general in the entire NFL. Next week, Cleveland does not have the same type of offensive line. While theirs is very good, it's not, they don't have the guy at the same top tier like a Penei Sewell. Cleveland also offensively has less of a chance, I think, at matching Green Bay than Detroit or Washington had. And so to me, it's kind of like if the Green Bay defense is this spectacular against Detroit and Washington, 2 teams last year that were one of the best units on offense in the entire league, what they could do against Cleveland, I'm actually pretty interested to see whether they're super dominant or maybe they have a game where they let up a little bit. Washington's next game will be at home against the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas has played their only game so far to the tune of a win against New England. Las Vegas has a really, an offense that's trying to get to the same potency as a Green Bay or a Washington. They're a team that's in the making, I think, with their younger stars like Dante Thornton or Brock Bowers or Ashton Genty. Where I think Washington will be looking to improve going forward is proving that they can stop multiple targets on the field. I think Washington, in this week's game, they did not do a great job either defending the pass or defending the run. In the second half, they did okay, I think, but I think that's more can be attributed to Green Bay letting off the gas pedal a little bit when they're up 15 to 20 points in the fourth quarter. They weren't really trying to push the ball down the field anymore. They were trying to seal up the win. And so Washington, I think, they're going to be a team in need of proving they can shut down multiple targets on the field at once, not just keying in on one guy. And offensively, I'm interested to see if they try to get more going with guys like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt or maybe Jaden Daniels on the ground. They had nothing going this week. And so next week, it's going to be important against Las Vegas that they get something going on the ground. But that's going to be the end for this video. This weekend, we got a pretty good slate of games. I think the Seattle and Pittsburgh game, Buffalo and the Jets, New England, Miami. There's a lot of divisional matchups. There's a lot of teams looking to rebound from a week one disappointment. There's a lot of teams looking to build off week one surprises or week one, showcases of good performance. So I'm interested to see this week how it pans out. I think I want to try to do some sort of power ranking of all of these teams after the Monday night games, or some sort of ranking of where these 32 teams are at after these first couple of weeks. I didn't really get to do it this week, but I think I'd rather wait 2 weeks to see more on film, more statistics, more things to analyze, and see things I do like, see things I don't like. So I think next week there's going to be a lot more content in terms of not just post-game videos, but more in-depth videos about these games or these teams. So if you want to see that, if you want to see it from a specific team or about a specific player, let me know and I'll make a video about it.